Hello everyone, I'm bringing you guys a video. I know it's been a very long time since I posted these kinds of videos or any kind of video on the channel. Sorry, college just finished out for me. I have 4 weeks of summer and then I start more classes over college as well. And then after that I'll be transferring over to a big time university and then taking even more classes over there. So it's going to be a little rough on the channel. It's not going to be a lot of activity on the channel in the next like 3-4 months until just classes and everything like that, and then for like the next year or two, just a bunch of classes. So whenever I get the time and new stuff comes out to the game, I'll post it. What I mean by new stuff is it's got to be something I see worth my while. Lately I've been taking a break from Wizards and playing different games and stuff like that, just because Wizards isn't coming out with a new world in quite some time, and I think I have what is the best gear in the game for me currently for all my setups. I can go through, I can redo gear setups on all those if need be, but I think I've posted like Fire and Storm. I can post another Life one if need be. I can post a Death one. I usually main him as a tank, not like a damage dealer. I don't have a Myth Wizard, a Balance Wizard. He's only 110, so usually just I keep him as also a support. I don't really hit on him as well, and then my life is just a healer. And then I also have an Ice. I'm not sure if I posted a 130 setup of him yet or not. So, but I'll try to like wrap things up with the setups for 130s, and then whenever 140 hits us, I'll do more setups then, depending on what kind of gear in game is at 140. Right now, this is 130. This is going to be a solo build, or my interpretation of what a solo build should be for a Storm Wizard. So the overall stats here, you got 5,000 health. This is what really sucks about a Storm Wizard and soloing with a Storm Wizard is your health is tremendously low compared to all the other schools. All the other schools, they get around 6,000-7,000 health, and Storm is sitting barely at a 5. Now, of course, switching around certain gear and depending on what you can choose, you can probably get this closer to 6,000, maybe not exactly 6,000. I've seen some builds out there that can get 6,000, which is good for them. So, I mean, if you go for like the Paradox gear or something like that, you can probably get higher health on your gear. However, if you go for the Paradox gear, you're gonna lose what we're trying to go for. We're trying to go for high resist, and the reason for that is because this is 50%, or it's 49, but essentially it's 50% damage mitigation, which is really nice because if you only have 5,000 health and they're going to hit you for something that does like 1,000 or 2,000, you can resist 50% of that without resist is good, so you can take more hits. You have low health, so I mean it sucks. So you just gotta have to play even with it. You might even have to throw on a few tower shields, but I definitely recommend high resist, high damage. You don't really have to focus crit so much because if they block you, there's no point. And I understand that sometimes in my crit videos and stuff like that, but for my crit setups and stuff like that, you want that crit. All right, you don't necessarily rely on the crit, but it's a good incentive. If you can hit max, go for max. But in this video, we're not worried about crit. We want damage and we want resist. Mainly, we want resist because, like I said, low health. You want to be able to survive. Survivability on Storm Wizards is pretty low because they don't have a really solid good heal, and that's why you also see on my pet I'm running a Maycast heal on it, just because you're soloing, hopefully. Unless you can run with a friend, then you might not need a Maycast heal on your pet. You're running with a friend. Hopefully they can absorb some of the damage you take as well. 56 accuracy. This is a huge amount of accuracy, and the funny thing is I really have nowhere else to put my jewels, so I just put them into accuracy, so in case you get like debuffs on you or anything like that. Lore Master spam, just whatever. Nova. No, Nova gives weakness. What else? Stuff that gives you negative charms. I call it the Barney spell. It's that Storm Dragon. Looks like a Fire Dragon, but it's a purple one, and it gives you a negative 50. I call it Barney. But essentially, if that gets hit with you, you get a 50 debuff. I mean, it's good to have a lot of accuracy, especially if you're soloing, so you don't miss a turn. It's good to have max pips, max accuracy in any kind of scenario. And so here, if you're already at max power pip chance, which I'm at, it's just good to have a crap ton of accuracy so you never fizzle. 133 damage. It's a lot of damage. You can definitely go higher, but I'm not sure if you'll probably be sacking you're sacrificing either resist or accuracy probably to go higher. For the gear that I have on right now, this is just kind of like a temporary guide or a tutorial of what to go for when soloing or how I would solo, and this is what I would kind of run more or less. And so this is high enough damage. You can definitely go higher. It's just preference. You're running 56 crit, which is pretty darn good. Unfortunately, the downside for running this much crit is you have 1% block. So you have no block, but you do have 50 resist. And the good news is when they deal like 500 damage to you, they crit on it, they do 1,000 to you or something. If you have 50 res, you essentially it counters out the block. So it's nice. However, if you're gonna get hit for some like an FFA that does like 2,500, he crits, he lands it or something like that. That's an instant like OTK right there on you. However, 50% it would go back down to 25. So I mean, if you can get the block plus high resist, go for it. Just more survivability. But unfortunately, at 130, block is garbage. So armor piercing's 33%, it's really good. You want high armor piercing because you're not going for crit and you have pretty high damage. But if you desperately need, if you don't want to waste another turn to put up a convert or waste another turn by taking out the shield and reblading up then killing them or something like that, if you don't want to waste a turn like that, having high armor piercing to deal with resist or with the amplified bubbles and stuff like that, the resist, fortify and brace, getting rid of those kind of bubbles with this high armor piercing is really, really good, especially the resist. Sometimes in the newer worlds, they play mind tricks on you. They show you a school and they'll be like, hey, I'm Storm. And then you throw in converts and it turns out he's actually boost to Storm, but he resists the myth. But his school on his name is Storm. So you're like thinking all the other worlds, like when it shows you that, oh, he resists the Storm. No, wrong. It's a trick. He actually boosts to Storm. Like there's certain fights like that. So it's always good to have high armor piercing. You can't really go wrong with this. I mean, if you don't have armor piercing jewels, and that's a big percentage of this is 18 from the jewels. If you don't have armor piercing jewels, I recommend either putting it in critical or yeah, you don't really need flat. Yeah, either just crit or armor piercing. You don't really need crit on this, but I mean, if you have that little extra bit, it could help potentially. But mainly you want to go for armor piercing. I don't care if it's like, would you rather have 18 critical into 1 jewel or like 2 or 3 armor piercing? I'd still I'd stick with the armor piercing, to be honest. It's just that good. And there's no counter for it. I mean, literally, it cuts through shields, it cuts through resist. There's like no counter to this unless they just keep shield stacking, which mobs usually, or minions, they usually don't do that. So that's good. Went over that. 5 stun res. It's important to have this. If you use stuff like, where is it? The TC Conviction, 95 on that, plus 5 on your gear, you have 100%, so you're never going to get stunned. Or you can just do this and screw the stun resist on your gear because this gives you 2 blocks. So whatever you prefer. 37 incoming. Reason why I have high incoming is either A, you're running with a healer, thus you're running with a group, you're not soloing. Bad. Or I guess good, depending on how you want to look at it. But bad for this setup because this setup's mainly a solo setup. But 37 incoming because in case you want to run stuff like... oh man, I haven't ran it forever. Where is it? Ah, here it is. Healing Current. It can give you a pretty good burst heal if you want it. Or what you could do is just do what I'm doing is... where's my pet? Here it is. Unicorn. Better to have Fairy or Healing Current or whatever you really want. But unfortunately, I was able to get Unicorn. Or unfortunately, I was able to get Unicorn instead of Fairy. But it's a team heal. So, I mean, in case I ever want to use this, team heal. What the hell? But yeah, high incoming, so your pet heals you more essentially. Pip conversion. This is important actually. I used to think it wasn't important, but it actually is really important because as a Storm Wizard, you're going to be using spells that require an odd number of pips. And it's important to have pip conversion so you gain that spare one you lost. If you have 3 power pips and you use a Glowbug's 5. And so you just wasted 3 power pips to use that. Now, unfortunately, when you do that, you lose a pip. But pip conversion gives you a chance to regain that pip. Water, so good. So, There's a lot of like Glowbug, Siren, Stormlord. Those are all odd number of pips. So I mean, if you have to use 5 pips, 4 pips, 3 pips, or sorry, 3 power pips, etc. Each time for an odd number of spells, pip conversion is pretty darn good to just give you that pip back. 100% power pip chance, you definitely want this because you don't want a new pip holding you back and killing you. Like I said, you're soloing, you have low health, you might want to kind of build up quickly, and power pips is the way to do that. Is make sure you're always gaining a power pip every single turn, and then in case anytime you use something that costs an odd number of pips and it takes 1 power pip, you have a chance of getting a new pip back thanks to this. 6% here, you're not wearing any of the paradox gear, so you're not going to really have high percent. As you can see, you can already see what I'm wearing is Malistaire for the hat and the robe, and then of course Hailstorm or whatever the storm slippers are. I call them the Balestorm slippers because they're in a Balestorm pack or whatever. That ain't nothing. That's pretty much it. Let's go into the here. Okay, so I already showed you this. Man, I keep hitting my microphone. All right, so I already showed you this, or you saw the name. This is the best hat in the game, unless you want the Paradox hat. Like I said earlier, the only downside to this Paradox hat is, unfortunately, you get no resist and no defense. But you do get accuracy, which is pretty good in case you're struggling with accuracy. But I really don't think you need more than 56 unless you just want to show off. But yeah, so that's your best hat. This is your best robe. These are standards. I mean, even in my crit setups, I'm still using this robe. I don't know why you would not use this robe. 25 base accuracy. You only need 30 for all your spells, and you get 25 from this robe. That right there means this is already the best robe. You don't even need the damage, the crit, the resistance. No, 25 base accuracy is freaking nuts. I'm surprised they haven't nerfed that. Alright, so this is packs. You have to buy this with packs. Wonder if they still have the pack. That's the question. I think it's this one right here, Professor. Yeah, because Professor's a frog. Yeah. So yes, this is it. Oh no, sorry. Here. Okay, so yeah, you go to the Professor pack, you get these bad boys. They're pretty nice because they give you really high crit, really high damage. They give you double resist for Storm, which is nice. You get Universal plus Storm resist on top. And you get an incentive of both accuracy and power pip chance, which is tremendous. Most other schools, they'll either give you power pip chance or accuracy, but they won't give you both. Malistaire gives you the same thing, which is very nice. And so you can either debate between which one you want. I'm currently running the Maelstrom, or the one on the left, just because it gives me higher damage, higher crit, or no, sorry, lower damage, higher crit, and the block isn't very useful. But if you want the block, go for the Malistaire boots. This, unfortunately, is a wand you have to get when the bundle sale is on. It's like the Bundle Palooza or something like that, where all the old bundles are out. This is the Witch Hunter's wand. Very rare bundle because the wand in it is extremely rare. I don't remember seeing a 130, but there is a 120, and that's what I'm wearing. I wonder if the 130 is probably going to increase everything, so it might get like 7 armor piercing and like 13 universal damage or something. So this is a really, really good, strong, powerful wand. The May Cast Poison is a mass May Cast Poison, so if you're facing a bunch of ice characters and they just keep shield spamming, tower spamming, weaver spamming, etc., if you get your wand to proc, plus it's a shadow, so I mean you can use that without using your blades, that poison is a mass poison. Doesn't say it on the card, but it affects all enemies, which is tremendous awesomeness, especially for a Storm Wizard, so you don't have to put up with all their shield stuff and trying to power through them with your armor piercing or something. You get a square socket for more block or more incoming, whatever you prefer. If you don't want that, Fortune Teller works just as fine. You'll lose armor piercing, you gain power pip chance, and then you can like sacrifice more on your jewels or whatever. Or if you're slacking on power pip chance, Fortune Teller is the way to go. Now, this Fortune Teller gives you power pip at level 100, 110, 120, and 130. They all give you armor piercing. So unfortunately, you'd have to buy this at 100 just to get the power pip chance on the Fortune Teller. Otherwise, these two are pretty darn good. They're both in the packs, unfortunately. Otherwise, you can still run this and just get really much higher armor piercing if you really want it. You'd just be losing damage and crit, and then pip conversion as well. But both can do either one of these three. Oh, let's see. Yeah, so you can either have any of these two, depending on whatever one you're slacking in, whether it's power pip chance or accuracy. I already showed you on max power pip chance, so I just might as well go more accuracy because it doesn't hurt. So that's good. Um, power pip chance or power pip chance. Amulet. Amulet could be one of two things. Any of these right here. These are preference. One gives you block, one doesn't give you block, one gives you stun resist, the other one doesn't give you stun resist, but you can, oh, actually they both give you stun resist. Look at that. No, that's shield. I can't read, Jared. Okay, yeah, so both those are shield. One gives a little bit more shield and more armor piercing, the other one gives less, but it gives you a blade, and then of course stun resist into both those square sockets. Or not both, but just one of the square sockets, and then the other square socket could be like incoming, flat resist, whatever you want to put into it. And then of course if you get the one on the left, you can just put more health in that tier, whatever you prefer. To me, I like the one on the left just because the blade helps, stun resist helps, and it's got that little extra block in case you need it, even though you're already at 1%. So you can go this route if you want, and definitely get that even 50 resist, which is very nice. Just so you have 50% damage mitigation. But I like the blade mainly, so that's why I run it that. This is your best ring. Now, of course, you can run different rings. Just know you will be losing. Sorry, this ring. You'll be losing power pip chance. You'll see there's 17 on the left, 0 on the right. That means you're losing 17 power pip chance. So therefore, your this dagger would have to go to power pip chance, and then you'd be down 7, and then your deck would also have to go to power pip chance. So you're up 3, just to replace the one you lost on your ring. Now the good news about this ring is 12 universal damage. That's really good. Just because it's for every school. You do get some block, which is nice out of it, and you get a tremendous amount of incoming on top of it. Now you also get a square socket, which is good. You get a circle socket and a tier socket, so more health, more armor piercing, and more incoming. Fabulous. It's already what you're wearing this thing for. You get really high health on it. You get high power pip chance, damage, and incoming. Woohoo! So it's the plant boss, plant ring, plant boss. You get this bad boy. So good ring, really like it for the damage and the incoming, really nice. If not, go for crit. Don't really need crit. You're soloing. You don't really want to rely on crit when you're soloing, and you lose power pip chance. This is a pet. I mean, you can have this pet, or you can have this pet. It's not max stat, so just pretend in your little minds that it is max stat and go with me. Or stay with me, bear with me. So, and then of course the make cast heal is wrong. It should be a fairy. Unfortunately, mine is a unicorn, and this is probably the last pet that I ever got before I was like, screw this, I'm going crit. So, yeah, you can choose either one. I choose the one on the left. Once again, it's got high resist, it's got that make cast heal, and it's got good a bit of damage to where I can still be able to do a lot of things. Or do a lot of damage. Get a mount that gives damage. If you get a mount that gives you power pip chance, it's good. You get a mount that gives you accuracy, that's good. You get a mount that gives you armor piercing, that's good. You get a mount that gives you damage, that's even better. So I mean, just get a mount that gives you something. Don't get these. All right, these right here, they're expensive. They give you like 10%. When you're in combat, that 50 does nothing for you. Get a mount that gives you at least something. Whether it's don't do this, but I mean, I'm gonna show you. Mouse. Is it still in the shop? Should be. I thought it was. Let's see. Oh, maybe they took it out. Well, that's unfortunate. Mini Mammoth was up. Here it is. So, I mean, this would just, it wouldn't really necessarily help you, and it's 9,000. I wouldn't spend 9,000 for this garbage. I would farm it. But if you have spare crowns, go ahead and buy it. What the hell? But something is better than nothing. You already get your 40%, so I mean 10% on the cloud car versus this is not really worth it when you're in combat. But that 2 extra outgoing, that could serve a purpose sometime in the future. Now, I'm not recommending that you buy this. I recommend you probably doing like a bundle and picking up something else that's more useful. But anything is better than nothing, and that's the whole purpose of a mount that gives you something. So go for a mount that gives you something. Alright, Rasputin deck just because it gives you a nice accuracy. If you want the Paradox and then just replace the Jewel, you can definitely do that. I unfortunately do not have 2 of these, so I stuck with Power Potions. Potions, this is new. I just logged in. These are, elixirs. I don't know what the hell this is, but I don't know what you would run here, so that could probably affect this setup. Anywho, that's the overall setup, guys. Here's the deck. Pretty much I run one of everything except enchant, so you can run one on Glowbug, Sirens, and Temp. Like I said earlier, these two both have odd number of cost for pips, so it's good to have that high pip conversion so that, where is it? Where is it? There it is. So that you can get that pip back for losing. So you're not burning 3 power pips or 5 power pips for this. You got enchants for all. You got to reshuffle so you can do it. If you want to run a bigger deck, go for it. I still recommend running reshuffle just so you can reshuffle all your cards back into your deck. You have a high enough damage to where 4 blades should do it. 1 sharpen, 1 normal, and then 2 different pet, and then amulet. And then of course, if you want more blades, you can put them in your TC, or you can just run Darkwind, which a lot of minions in the Newer Worlds, they don't use bubbles, which is really good because if you read the percentage on this Darkwind, it's 35%, which is equivalent to your TC Stormblade and equivalent to like your Amulet Blade. And it's equivalent to, if I can get my button to go over there, it's bigger than your normal blade. It's almost bigger than your Sharpen single. So that is really good, you know? I mean, you can run, double click, work, thank you. Where is it? Here. This is 25%. This is worse. Okay, you get 10% more just by running on TC, and it costs the exact same. So TC is really good for Storm Wizard. So, definitely recommend Darkwind if you ever really want it. Plus, it changes it if it was a Doom and Gloom and your pet's healing you a lot or something. Change it to Darkwind so you just have higher outgoing damage. Infallible is your choice. You don't really necessarily need it. Like I said, you have 56 accuracy, so you really don't need it. You got 33 armor piercing. But, I mean, if you really want to run Infal for that higher accuracy so you can have 70%, or if you want 50% armor piercing or something like that, you can definitely put this in your deck. Sometimes I use it just to cut through like Weaver shields and stuff like that, rather instead of striking up instead of using a Shadow Pip, so I can use Glowbugs or something. And then of course Conviction's pretty nice because you have that high stun resist and block and everything like that, even though block's pretty low on this. And then of course Clinch Charms, just because this is your universal out. Alright, if you don't know what that means, you need to start using it more and you'll finally understand in game terms that cleanses are fabulous. And then of course enchanted Glowbugs, which are really good. If you don't know how to enchant, either buy Gargantuans or Giants or whatever you really want, preferably Gargantuans or the bigger ones. But you can buy these from the Archivist, you can buy them in the Arcanum, and you can buy them anywhere else. I don't know, probably the Bazaar. And you just buy a crap ton of them, go into a fight, and put them on your TC, enchant your cards, delete them, kill it with a wand or something. So go in like Lost Soul, Unicorn Way or something. Kill it with a wand, and then bam! You go into your TC afterwards, and you got a crap ton of them. So I'll show you real quick. So here's 33 of those, all pre-mated. Here's 12 of those, 7 of those. Wow, I need to make some more of those. 10 of those. Yeah, I need to start using temps. I got 33 of them. Jeez. Alright, I gotta go back and pre-make. But pre-making, very useful, very effective. You can do it on every single spell. Pretty nice. That's pretty much the overall setup. Carry Stun Block if you want. You don't necessarily have to if you're going to run Conviction in your TC. And that's pretty much it to the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in another video. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be quite a while before I post another video unless you guys have a preference. Now, I'm off for 4 weeks, so if you guys want me to make another video or something like that, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on another video to make to help you guys out further in this game. And then I'm not sure if I'll ever post videos of other games that I play. Still haven't thought about that yet. And I don't know. We'll see something like that in the future, maybe, if you guys are interested or not. So, anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you guys later.